Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and still with you and this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show. And as promised earlier today, we have a lot in store discussing the recent efforts by Egypt in cooperation with regional and international partners to de-escalate the situation and the tensions in the region. And joining us this morning for a further in-depth discussion on this topic, we're delighted to welcome our dear guest, Dr. Professor Ahmed, the Ichaq Professor of International Law and the International Relations Expert. It's a very good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning, and it's nice to be with you.
Likewise, Doctor, and thank you very much for your time this morning. Now, of course, Doctor, Egypt has welcomed all the efforts and initiatives aiming to reduce the tensions in the region, paving the way for de-escalation and the end to the war. In this context, Egypt said it appreciates statements made by the U.S. President in which he referred to intensive contacts to reduce tension and his intentions to halt plans to target Iranian energy facilities. We have more details in this report, and we'll be right back to discuss this in further depth with our guest this morning. Stay tuned.
Egypt continues its efforts in cooperation with regional and international partners to de-escalate tensions and calls for seizing the opportunity presented by U.S. President Donald Trump's recent initiative to prioritize dialogue. Egypt is closely and continuously monitoring developments in the Middle East over the past weeks. In this regard, it reiterates its condemnation of the attacks targeting the Gulf states and sisterly Kingdom of Jordan and categorically rejects any enforcement and infringement upon their security and sovereignty. Egypt also warns of the grave repercussions of the continued escalation and regional security and stability, as well as its economic and trade repercussions that have affected the region and the world at large. In this context, Egypt is exerting tireless efforts and maintaining intensive contacts with all concerned parties over the past few days to prevent reaching a point of no return, halting the de-escalation and escalation in the region, and averting a descent into widespread chaos. Egypt is making every possible effort in close coordination with regional and international partners to urge all concerned parties to de-escalate and reach ceasefire that will end the ongoing conflict and war in Iran and prevent its expansion in the region, thus averting a complete regional state of chaos. From this standpoint, Egypt welcomes all efforts and initiatives aimed at reducing tensions and paving the way for de-escalation and an end to the war. In this context, Egypt appreciates the statement made by U.S. President Donald Trump in which he referred to intensive contacts to reduce tensions and his intention to halt his plans to target Iranian energy facilities. Egypt recognizes the importance of seizing this opportunity and building upon it to prioritize dialogue to stop the escalation and ultimately end the war.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcoming this morning our guest in the studio, Professor Dr. Ahmed Ichaq, our Professor of International Law. Once again, Doctor, a pleasure to have you with us this morning. Now, just as we heard in the report, Egypt has welcomed and continues efforts to cooperate with regional and international partners to de-escalate the situation in the region. Tell us a bit about the role that Egypt has played specifically in this regard, sir.
First of all, there is no doubt that Egypt is a cornerstone in the region for saving security of the whole region, as that especially Egypt for a long time had played this role successfully in many cases like Gaza.
Yes,
also, from day one, Egypt had called for all peaceful solution to this conflict. And this was the Egyptian situation from the day one, and it was honestly the long side for the Egyptian administration that reflects its strategy and its basics in all situations that depends on all peaceful solution for all kind of conflicts.
Actually, from the very beginning, Egypt was warning that this would be the situation in the region and was totally against any sort of escalation or war between the different parties, and warned that if a war were to happen, the whole region would be dragged through this war. So Egypt has had a very clear vision, as you said, or foresight with regards to this. Now, to what extent do you see some of the statements that are being made? For example, we saw Donald Trump, U.S. President, saying statements about ending the war, about not hitting energy infrastructure, as he previously said. Do you see this as a strategic shift or maybe a political maneuver, in your opinion?
Maybe it's more a political maneuver. It's not a strategic turnover till the moment, because there is a huge pressure on the U.S. President Donald Trump from the national and international world, because there is two main problems or two main challenges that facing U.S. President Donald Trump. First of all, there are two main questions that there is no answer till the moment from the American president. First, what is the cost of this war? What is the target of this war? For which for whom who is the for which benefit is this war? For who is it? For the American? What kind of benefit would the American gain from this war? It was many questions that till the moment there is no answer. Especially the Americans are facing a raise in the gasoline and oil prices in the national market. Especially it had been raised from since the beginning of the war, about 25%. It's a very huge percent in a small time. And there are another legal challenge that facing the President Donald Trump, because in case in the beginning of this war, he announced that it is only a primitive strike, not a war. It would last for few days, because if it is a war, as the whole world is watching, the American president needs an amendment by the American Congress. So, and till the moment there is no amendment by the American Congress. So it's another problem that are facing the U.S. president. Especially we are about a few months later, we will there will be the election of the Congress in November, and it's very important for the American president that the Republican would have the majority in the Congress. But if this war lasts more time, it would cost the American more billion of dollars. It would cause them more casualties. It would affect their reputation in the international world. So it would allow the Democratic to win the election and turn to the Congress.
Indeed. So this is something also I'm surely he's considering as well.
For sure.
Now, Doctor, of course, to what extent do you think that the United States can impose its own conditions, if we were to say, given the complexities of the region, of the international landscape, the complexities over Iran's response as well?
For sure, the Americans are in a very hard situation this moment, especially due to the Iranian had blocking the Strait of Hormuz, as it is a key route for the international oil and energy for all over the world. As we watched since the beginning of the war, the oil barrel had raised from about $69 to now it's about 120, and
almost
it's,
double.
And maybe also it will be further more in the next few days. So it's all of this would oblige the international economy to fall into a huge catastrophe due to a huge inflation that would raise all the prices of energy, would raise the price of services and food, goods. So it would be a huge problem for the whole world, and it would also affect the American economy,
Yes.
especially that Donald Trump, for example, a few days before the war, he claimed or he called the U.S. Federal to reduce the interest rate. Now it is now due to the war, the federal would think for raising the interest rate, not to reduce it due
yes.
to the inflation. So as we find by this way, that maybe the winning card is by the moment is with Iran.
Yes. Right, Doctor, now what are some of the implications? We've seen Washington and Trump calling on other countries, for example, from Europe to come and secure the Strait of Hormuz and the passing of ships, etc. Why do you see Washington demanding this, and how do you see these countries' reaction to this request?
For many reasons. First of all, is due to the failure of the American to have a guarantee for securing the passage and the crossing of the vessels and ships through the Strait of Hormuz. So he is trying to call his the alliance and other foreigner partners to participate in granting the free and secure free through Strait of Hormuz. It's also, he tried to claim that the American doesn't need any vessels or any oil from the Strait of Hormuz, but on in the other side, the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz is raising the cost of oil all over the world, even through American. And even if American doesn't use the oil from the passing through Strait of Hormuz, but the cost would be increased and it would affect the American market. So he is trying to call, as we say, he not an assistance from his partners, because he knows that this war he began himself without any negotiation or any cooperation or any kind of discussion with his partners and allies. So he can't call for assistance from them, but he is trying to call for securing the crossing as an international target for the international economy.
And this is exactly the response that he received from his European partners, that this isn't really our war or our problem. On the other hand, Iran had a very interesting response to this request, saying that they will assist and secure ships passing through as long as they were not headed or belonging to the U.S. Or Israel. They even secured a ship passing to Japan, again to China, etc. How do you see the Iranian response as well, and the strength that they have as a result of, their control of the Strait of Hormuz?
For sure, what Iran did in this last few days through allowing Japanese and Indian also vessels, ships to cross safely through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is trying to gaining more alliance and more to have more deal with different partners all over the world to that would strengthen its position in negotiation with the American. So as a result, that would allow and would allow the Iranian to be in a stronger position in its negotiation with the American. It also would allow them to have more power and pressure, more leverage with international partners that allow it to have more discussions with many different partners all over the world in order to have a guarantee for free passage and free crossing through Strait of Hormuz. All of this would allow or would give the Iranian a push in its negotiation with the Americans.
Absolutely. Now, Egypt, of course, and the Egyptian leadership has continuously monitored the developments in the Middle East in the past weeks, reiterating its condemnation, of course, of the continued escalations and attacks targeting Gulf states as well as Arab countries and the Kingdom of Jordan, etc. How do you see the role that Egypt is playing in this regard, specifically that it has warned, as we said in the beginning, of the repercussions of the continued escalation on regional and international security and stability?
For sure, from day one, as we found, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Egyptian situation is very clear that Egypt condemned all strikes against all Arabian and the Gulf countries and even Jordan and Iraq. Egypt condemned all kinds of infringement, all kinds of strikes, all kinds of attack for any Arabian countries that would consider as an infringement for its sovereignty, for Arabia's national security, as it is a priority for Egyptian situation. So as a result, Egypt is trying to and is exerting all its efforts to have a discussion or present a platform for discussion between different conflicted parties in order to reach a peaceful solution as soon as possible, in order to halt all military actions in the region, in order to restore the security in the whole region.
Indeed. And obviously President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said over and over that Gulf countries and Arab countries' security is integral and part of the Egyptian national security. And this is a very important statement by Egypt, specifically because it's been made and acted upon very, very decisively from the very beginning of this war. Now, how do you see the regional attentions and the response of the Arab and Gulf states, and how they've been really dragged into the middle of this war, even though they have had no direct participation in it?
For sure, the Arabian Gulf countries and the other Arab countries are suffering from the Iranian strategy that adopted from the day one of the of this dispute, as the Iranian had a strategy that's called hostage strategy, which is depends on regionalizing the cost, because Iran is trying to increase the cost of the war for the Americans through increasing the cost of oil prices all over the world that would oblige and affect the Americans. So the Iranians are using the strikes against Gulf countries, Arab countries, as a card to make a pressure on the American. So the Arabian Gulf countries are suffering from strikes from the war that they are not part of it. They are not. They oppose this war against the Iranian. On the other side, they are suffering from many strikes against its oil infrastructure in many Arabian Gulf countries. So, honestly, the Gulf countries are in a very hard situation because they are calling for de-escalation, for peaceful solution. On the other side, they are under strikes, under attack from Iranian. So, till the moment there is no final or a precise solution, precise site for the next steps from the Arabian Gulf countries.
Now, we've seen the narrative by U.S. President Donald Trump changing, or shifting a bit from the beginning. From the very beginning, as you said, it was a preemptive. It was said to be a preemptive strike. It was said to last 3-4 weeks maximum. Then it changed, and it changed again. How do you see the different rhetoric coming from the U.S. side?
For sure, he is trying to calm the prices of the oil all over the world. He is trying to calm the internal American society. He is trying to give more time to implement any of his targets and goals of the war. Especially in the beginning of the war, he claimed that there are main 3 targets for and goals for his for this war. First, to eliminate the nuclear Iranian program, to put it into an end. Second point, to eliminate the Iranian ballistic rockets program. The third point, to prevent Iran from supporting its alliance in the region, like Hezbollah, Hamas, Al-Houthiyyin. So those were the main three goals for the war in the beginning. Till the moment, there is no guarantee for any of them to be achieved. So he is trying to gain time, trying to calm his internal society. The international world, he is trying to reduce or to calm the oil market, but till the moment he didn't succeed.
Right, I'm afraid we've run out of time very quickly, but I'd like to thank you very, very much, our dear guest, Professor Dr. Ahmed Ichaq, Professor of International Law and International Relations expert. Many thanks, sir, for your time this morning and for joining us on The Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much.
Very much. Thank you, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, do stay tuned. We'll be right back after the short break.